The Los Angeles Rams entered this offseason with one clear objective: eliminate every weakness that kept the team from reaching another Super Bowl. After coming extremely close to football's biggest stage last season, the organization responded with one of its most aggressive periods of roster moves in recent years. The arrivals of Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson transformed the secondary. Ty Simpson was the surprising choice at 13th overall, and the blockbuster signing of Myles Garrett immediately changed the direction of the defense. However, as training camp approaches and the excitement surrounding these new additions begins to settle, another issue is quietly gaining momentum, becoming one of the biggest topics surrounding the franchise. It is not about a new signing or a rookie. It is about a player who is already on the roster and whose future could suddenly become far more expensive than anyone expected. I'm about to tell you all the details about this, but first, make sure you've already hit the like button. But only do that if you've been a Rams fan for more than 30 years. The other day, I saw many people commenting on the videos saying they attended games back in the 70s and 60s. Man, that's incredible. You are part of the Rams' legacy. If possible, write here how long you've been a Los Angeles Rams fan. Well, now we need to talk about Kobe Turner. He has become one of the most important players on the Rams' defense, and recent events around the league may have drastically changed the financial reality of his next contract. The situation became impossible to ignore after defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons signed a massive 3-year contract extension worth $105.8 million, including an impressive $100 million fully guaranteed at signing. The deal set a new benchmark for the position and had an immediate impact across the NFL. For the Rams, this development carries enormous consequences. Turner remains one of the most productive defensive players on the roster, and his future extension has already become one of the organization's most important decisions. The timing of Simmons' contract could not be more significant, as it may have raised the market value of elite interior defensive linemen throughout the league. While many people view Simmons as a more established name, the production comparison between the two players has created an interesting discussion. According to the information available, Turner has consistently generated pressure on opposing quarterbacks while also producing sacks in every season. His impact as a pass rusher has become one of the foundations of the Rams' defensive front. The numbers surrounding Turner have forced people around the league to look beyond reputation and focus on production. Pressure statistics, sack totals, and overall disruption have placed Turner among the most productive interior defenders over the past several seasons. While Simmons receives recognition as one of the league's premier run defenders, Turner has developed a reputation as a highly effective pass-rushing defensive tackle who continues to expand his game. This growth has become even more important because of the changes happening throughout the Rams' defense. The arrival of Myles Garrett has generated enormous expectations. One of the major questions entering the season is whether Garrett's presence could change how the Rams approach their defensive scheme. Last season, the defensive front relied heavily on movement and designed pressures. Garrett's talent could allow the defense to become less dependent on scheme and more dependent on individual dominance. If Garrett performs at the expected level, it may create even more opportunities for Turner inside. And that possibility matters because Turner himself recently acknowledged the unique position he finds himself in. According to his comments, an extension with the Rams would represent an opportunity to reward years of hard work and provide long-term security. At the same time, he also recognized that if an agreement does not happen immediately, the current situation still places him in an excellent position. The additions of Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, Myles Garrett, and the continued development of the defense have created an environment where individual production could become even more valuable. Turner enters this period knowing that another productive season could significantly increase his value. For the Rams, this creates urgency. Every month that passes potentially increases the cost of keeping one of the defense's most important players. The Simmons contract may only be the beginning of a larger market adjustment for elite defensive tackles. Current projections now place Turner's potential extension around 4 years and $132 million, averaging approximately $32 million annually, with guarantees approaching $100 million. Those numbers represent a substantial increase compared to earlier expectations. Previous estimates reportedly placed Turner closer to the $26 million to $28 million range annually. The latest developments have pushed those projections significantly higher. Even if Turner does not completely reset the market, reaching the $30 million mark now appears realistic, based on recent contracts. This creates another difficult challenge for the Rams because Turner is not the only player requiring future financial decisions. The organization also faces important questions elsewhere on the roster, and the increasing cost of retaining core players means difficult choices may eventually become unavoidable. At the same time, football concerns continue to dominate the off-season. One of the most important questions involves the connection between Matthew Stafford and Terrence Ferguson. Ferguson caught only 38% of the passes thrown in his direction during his rookie season. The Rams view him as one of the potential breakout players on offense in 2026, but both the young target and Stafford must improve their chemistry. Ferguson's development could influence the entire structure of the offense. There are also questions regarding his possible hybrid role. Discussions surrounding his versatility have raised the possibility that he could eventually occupy responsibilities similar to those previously handled by Cooper Kupp. If that transition occurs, it may explain why the team did not prioritize adding another receiver during the offseason. Another major storyline involves Trent McDuffie. Sean McVay indicated during off-season practices that McDuffie could spend significant time playing in the slot. Such a move would create ripple effects throughout the secondary. Quentin Lake's role could change, and Emmanuel Forbes could see increased responsibilities on the outside. How the coaching staff deploys McDuffie may become one of the defining defensive stories of the season. Special teams also remain under evaluation. The Rams made several adjustments to improve that unit while maintaining continuity in certain areas, including Xavier Smith as a return option. Improvement is expected, but questions remain regarding whether those changes will be enough. The linebacker position carries uncertainty as well. Nate Landman experienced a noticeable decline in performance after receiving a contract extension during the middle of the season. Whether he can return to his earlier form has become one of the important training camp battles, especially with competition for the linebacker position continuing to develop. Despite all these storylines, the contract situation surrounding Kobe Turner may ultimately become the most significant issue facing the organization. The Rams have invested heavily in the present. The additions of Myles Garrett, Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, and Ty Simpson demonstrate an organization determined to compete at the highest level immediately. But maintaining a championship-caliber roster requires balancing present ambitions with future financial realities. Turner has established himself as a cornerstone of the defensive front. His production, his consistency, and his value inside the defense continue to rise. The latest market developments suggest that waiting may only increase the cost of retaining him. As the Rams continue their push toward another Super Bowl appearance, the organization faces an important decision: secure one of the defense's most productive players now, or risk watching his value climb even higher after another potentially dominant season. With questions surrounding Stafford and Ferguson, the integration of Myles Garrett, the role of Trent McDuffie, the evolution of the offense, and the future of several key players, this offseason may ultimately be remembered for one contract negotiation that changed everything. The financial pressure surrounding the defensive line becomes even more complicated when looking at the long-term future of the roster. The arrival of Myles Garrett was designed to elevate the entire defense, but it also creates an environment where several players could see their production increase at the same time. For Kobe Turner, That may be the biggest factor working in his favor as contract discussions continue. If Garrett commands extra attention from opposing offensive lines, Turner could find himself with more one-on-one opportunities than ever before. That possibility is exactly why many observers believe the Rams should move quickly. Every additional sack, every pressure, and every disruptive performance during the upcoming season could add millions to Turner's future value. The organization already faces major questions about how future resources will be allocated. Retaining core players while continuing to strengthen the roster is never easy, especially when several important contributors are approaching significant contract decisions. Turner's situation now appears to be at the center of those discussions. At the same time, the defensive front itself carries enormous expectations. Garrett's arrival was not simply about adding another talented player. It was about creating a unit capable of changing games. Questions remain about whether the Rams will continue relying heavily on defensive schemes and movement, or whether elite individual talent will allow the defense to become more straightforward and even more effective. That is why the upcoming season could be so important for evaluating the long-term direction of the defense. Turner's production, Garrett's impact, and the adjustments within the secondary involving Trent McDuffie could all shape the identity of this team moving forward. Meanwhile, Terrence Ferguson remains one of the most fascinating offensive players to watch. Improving his connection with Matthew Stafford could unlock another dimension of the offense. His potential versatility and evolving role may influence personnel decisions far beyond this season. All of these storylines are connected. The Rams are attempting to compete immediately while also building stability for the future. Every major decision made during this period carries consequences not only for 2026, but for several seasons ahead. And perhaps that is why Kobe Turner's situation feels so important right now. He represents both the present and the future of the defensive line. His production has already made him indispensable, and the changing market may soon force the Rams to make one of the biggest financial commitments on the roster. The question is no longer whether Turner has earned a major extension. The question now is how quickly the Rams are willing to act before the market climbs even higher and before another outstanding season potentially changes the conversation once again. What do you think, Rams fans? Should the Rams move quickly and sign Kobe Turner before his value rises even more? Or should the organization wait and evaluate another season before making such a massive commitment? Leave your thoughts below. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and click the video on your screen because the latest Rams news and updates are only found right here.